Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back and thank you for supporting me. I'm Coretta. In this tutorial, I will be showing how I created this Ombre Rhinestone template. I want to give a special thank you to my YouTube friend Patrice over at Craftable Things for bringing this type of rhinestone template designing to our crafting community. To complete this project, you will need Silhouette Studio Designer Edition or above. If you will be cutting with a Cricut machine, you will need Silhouette Studio Business Edition. Okay, y'all, let's go bling. Here I am in Silhouette Studio Business Edition. I'm going to create a template that reads real, not perfect. To add text, I am going to select the text tool on the left toolbar, and then I am going to click anywhere on my screen, on the canvas, and then I'm going to type real in all capital letters. When I finish, I am going to click anywhere on the canvas. Again, I'm going to select the text tool on the left toolbar, click anywhere on the canvas, and I'm going to type not perfect. And then I'm going to click anywhere on the canvas again. Now that I have my words, I will change the color for the word real. So for the word real, I am going to change the color to gray. To change the color, I am going to go to the right toolbar and I am going to select the fill panel, which is the third icon, and it looks like a paint palette, and I am going to select a shade of gray. Next, I will change the line color. So I'm going to select the line style panel on the right toolbar, and I'm going to select the second icon, and then I'm going to change the color to none. For the words not perfect, I will change the color to black. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to select the paint palette, the fill panel, the paint palette on the right toolbar, and I'm going to select black. Then I'm going to select the line style. I'm going to select the second icon, and then I'm going to change the outline to none. Now I'm going to select my font. To select my font, I'm going to select the word real, and then on the right toolbar, I'm going to select the text style, and that is the icon on the right toolbar that looks like the letter A. When this panel opens, I will select the font of my choice. For this template, I am going to select Berlin Sans FB Denim, this one right here. For the words not perfect, I'm going to select a single line font. I will leave a list of single line fonts in the description of this video. These fonts can be downloaded from Creative Fabrica. So I will select not perfect, and then on the text style, I'm going to choose the font Dear Agatha Sans 2. Okay, so if your single line font does disappear, all you have to do is go to the line style, select the second icon, and change the line color to black, and it will show up. Now I have my fonts selected. The next thing I want to do is size my design to 11 inches in width. Before sizing the design, I want to point out that the bounding box around the words are larger than the words. And to get a more accurate size, I am going to ungroup the words and group it back together. To ungroup, I will make sure that the word is selected. And on the top menu, I am going to go to Object, and then I'm going to select Ungroup. I will go back to Object, and then I will select Group. Now, once you select Ungroup, the word will no longer be recognized as text. And therefore, you will not be able to edit it anymore. So make sure that your spelling is correct and that you have made your final font selection. If you're not sure, you can always make a duplicate copy of the words before you ungroup them. Now I'm going to size the word real. And I want to size the word real to 11 inches in width. And I want it to be 5 inches in height. And so that's the word real. I'm going to move perfect down here, and I'm just going to align this right here. And now I'm going to size not perfect to 7.637 in width. And then I'm going to size the height to 1.219. So now I have not perfect size. I'm going to position it under the word real where I want it to be. And then I am going to select both of the words, and I am going to align the design center. And so to do that, I'm going to go up to the transform panel shortcut, and I am going to select center. Okay, so I want the word real to be ombre, and I want it to also have an outline that is a different color. So to begin creating the template, I'm going to create an internal offset. To add an internal offset, I am going to select the word real. And on the right toolbar, I am going to select the offset panel. And this looks like a star with an outline around it. Then I am going to select internal offset. And you can see that it has the red lines on the inside. That's the internal offset. It's inside the word. I want to change my distance to 0.155 because I feel like that's a good distance and that it will hold the rhinestones closer together. So once I change my distance, I'm going to hit apply. Now, while the offset is still selected, I'm going to go to the top menu and I'm going to select object, and then I'm going to select group. I am also going to change the color to red. So I'm going to the fill panel and I'm going to select red. I'm going to go to my line style. I'm going to select the second icon and I'm going to change that to none. The next step now is to convert this design to a rhinestone design. And to convert the design to a rhinestone design, I am going to open up the rhinestone panel. To open up the rhinestone panel, I am going to go to the top and I'm going to select panels. Then I'm going to come down and I'm going to select rhinestones. On the rhinestone panel, there are 4 rhinestone effects. You have none, edge, linear, and radial. You can also choose your rhinestone size. So you have 6SS, 10SS, 16SS, and 20SS. You have your rhinestone spacing. You have the freehand option which lets you add additional stones. There is a release rhinestone option to ungroup all of the rhinestones. And then here on the bottom, there's a rhinestone counter that lets you know how many rhinestones are in your design. For my template, I will be using 10SS rhinestone size. Now I'm going to first convert the word real. I'm going to select the outline, which is the gray area here. And I am going to select the 10SS rhinestones. And I'm going to select an edge fill. I am going to change my spacing to 0.020 because I want my rhinestones to be close. Next, I'm going to select the internal offset, and I'm going to select 10SS, and then I'm going to select the radial fill. As you can see, there are a lot of spacing and gaps in the word real, in the internal offset. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the spacing on these rhinestones also to 20. Let's change this to 15 instead of 20 so we can see if it works. Hold on, I didn't see it change. So let's go back to 39. And then I'm going to change it to 15. Okay, so still some gaps, but let's zoom in so we can see if we need to come down or go up. So I'm going to zoom in, and I'm just going to take a quick look to see if I need to adjust my spacing again, because I want to see if any of the rhinestones are touching each other. And it doesn't look like they're touching each other up there. So let's come down here, and it doesn't look like they're touching each other right here. Okay, so none of the rhinestones are touching, but we do have some gaps that I'm going to address later. I want to complete converting the design to rhinestones so I can see exactly how much cleanup and adjustments I need to make. So I'm going to zoom back out. And then I'm going to select the words not perfect. I'm going to select 10SS stones, and then I'm going to select edge. I am going to change my spacing to 20. So I'm going to change my spacing to 0.20. And I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to zoom in again to make sure that none of the stones are touching each other. So let's see, if I put this on 15, what would it look like? So it's a little bit closer, and I think I like that better. And so because I think I like that better, let's see what it looks like with the outline being on 15, since I only changed it to 20. So I'm going to select the gray outline, and I'm going to select 15 for this one. And let's zoom in to see if any of the rhinestones are touching each other. Because for this design, we want the rhinestones to be as close as possible, because when they're really close, you can see the color and the bling really pops. So looks like none of the stones are touching each other. So again, I'm going to zoom back out so that we can see the whole design. Okay, so also I want this outline on the word real to be black as well. So I'm going to go over and change that to black. Okay, so now I have the design completely converted to rhinestones. But as you can see, I still have these little gaps here in my letters. And I don't want it to look like that. I want to fill in these gaps. So to fix these gaps, I will need to ungroup and release the rhinestones. So I'm going to move the black outline over here because I want to work with each layer individually. So I'm going to move the outline over here and the word not perfect. And I just want to work with the word real. So I'm going to zoom in a little so we can see the whole screen. I'm going to close this panel because I want to be able to zoom in to see exactly what I am doing. So let's zoom out just a little bit. And to release the rhinestones, I am going to open up the rhinestone panel. So I'm going to select panels and I'm going to select rhinestones again. Now to fix it, I am going to go with the word real selected. I'm going to go on the top menu. I'm going to select object and then I'm going to select ungroup. And what that does is it ungroups every letter individually. So each letter is individual. So now I'm going to fix the R by filling in the gaps. And to do this, I will select the R. And on the rhinestone panel, I'm going to select release rhinestones. And when I release the rhinestones, the circles become individual objects. Next, I'm going to start to make some adjustments to the circles by moving them around so that they can fill in some of the gaps. And what you can do is you can use your mouse to move them, or you can use your arrow key to move the circles so that you can put them into a place. If you want to add circles, you will select the circle and then you would just copy and paste a circle and then place it where you want it to go. So I'm going to place this one right here and I'm going to use my arrow key to kind of move it so that they are not touching each other. Remember, when making your adjustments, you don't want any of the circles to touch or overlap because because if they are touching and overlapping, then it'll make it difficult for you to brush your stones in because the circles won't cut as individual circles. So I'm going to finish making the adjustments to this R, and then I am going to come back. Once you are finished with your adjustments, you will then select all the stones of the letter R. Then you will go up on the top menu, select object, and then select group. I am going to make adjustments to the remaining letters, and for the sake of time, I'm going to speed that part up too. Now I am finished with making all the adjustments. The next thing I want to do is create the ombre effect. To create the ombre effect, I'm going to select the entire word real, and then I am going to ungroup. I'm going to go to object, and then I'm going to select ungroup. Then I am going to select the circles and on the bottom half by taking my mouse and highlighting all the circles on the bottom half of the design. Nowhere specific, just somewhere halfway through the design. I'm going to select them halfway up to a place where I feel like it might be cute. So I'm going to stop right here and I am going to select them and then I'm going to change the color of these stones. So I'm going to go to my paint fill and I am going to change these stones color to blue. Okay, these didn't change to blue. Okay, so I have these at blue. I don't want that blue. I want that one to be red. So next, in between the two colors, I am going to randomly select stones and change those colors to blue. Again, I'm not going to be specific. I'm just going to be doing it random. So when you select when you select the random stones, you want to select the stone, hold down your shift key, and select another stone. And you just want to randomly select stones in the design. Just random selecting the stones within the design. Like I said, nothing specific. You're just going to randomly select stones in the design. And then once you've selected those stones, then you're going to change the color to those stones to blue as well. And doing this will create the ombre effect. Now you've selected some stones. You can go back and you can add more stones, or you can take stones away. Like, I don't want that one. I'm going to change that one back to red. I'm going to change, and I'm trying to stick to the inside of the letter. I don't want to change anything on the edge of the design. I don't want to change any of those colors to blue. I'm just trying to stick to the inside of my design. And again, I am randomly selecting stones. I have no specific order here. It's just random. So once I finish creating the ombre effect, I need to group all the colors together. So to group all the colors together, I am going to go to Edit on the top menu, and I'm going to go down to Select by Color. When the panel opens, I am going to select the By Field option. And then the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to select the color red. And then what happens is all of the red circles are selected. And once they're all selected, I'm going to go to Object and I'm going to Group. I will repeat this for the blue rhinestones as well. So I'm going to select blue. I'm going to go to Object and I'm going to Group. Now I'm going to move the black layer back to the canvas. Moving the red and the blue layers off the canvas, I'm going to put the black layer on the canvas. I'm going to position it, make sure that it is aligned center. And then I am going to group that together. Okay, I have all the light colors grouped together, and now I want to create my layers. Creating the layers will make this easier to upload into Cricut Design Space. So to create the layers, I am going to make sure that the black layer is selected. And before I convert this to a layer, I am going to go back to the rhinestone panel. And I am going to release the rhinestones. Once the rhinestones are released, I'm going to go to Object and I'm going to go to Group. Once they are grouped, I'm going to go to Object and I'm going to go to Make Compound Path. Make Compound Path is going to take the color away from your rhinestones. So you just go back to your paint fill, select your color, go to your line style, and select None. Then I'm going to select the red layer, and I'm going to go to Object, and I'm going to Make Compound Path. The color is going to leave. I am going to select None for my line, and then I'm going to select red for my color. And I'm going to do the same for the blue layer. Now I have turned the design into 3 layers. I'm going to put the design back together so that I can save it as an SVG and upload it into Cricut Design Space. To save the file as an SVG, I am going to select the entire design, and on the top menu, I'm going to go to Object and I'm going to go to Group. Making sure that the design is all selected, I am going to go to File, and then I'm going to go to Save Selection, and then I'm going to select Save to Hard Drive. I am going to name my file, and then I'm going to change the Save As type to SVG. And then I'm going to select OK. To cut the design with my Cricut machine, I am going to upload the rhinestone design to a blank canvas. Here on the layers panel, you see that there are 3 layers on the layers panel. The design uploaded to Cricut Design Space, however, it may not have come into the canvas at the correct size. So we may need to resize it. To check to make sure that it is the right size, we are going to go over to Silhouette Studio. And according to Silhouette Studio, this design should be 11.192 in width and 6.843 in height. So I'm going to go back to Cricut. And I am going to make sure that the entire design is selected. And then I'm going to change my width to the width that Silhouette Studio says the design should be. And so checking, we see that according to Cricut, the width of this design is 11.129, which is the correct width. And the height is 6.843, which is the correct height. So 11.129 in width and 6.843 in height is correct. And now that we have the design sized correctly, it's time you can cut the design on your rhinestone flock. To cut the design on the rhinestone flock, I am going to go to Make It. Here on this screen is the design on its color coordinated mats. Because the design will be picked up with transfer tape, there's no further action on this screen, so I'm going to select Continue. Here on the material screen, you will select the type of material the design will be cut with. To cut the rhinestone flock, I have created my own material setting so I can cut the rhinestone flock. To create your own settings, check out my video on creating a custom material setting. I will leave a link to the video in the description below. I'm going to cut the template, brush in my stones, and get the design on the transfer tape. Then I will come back and we will press the design onto a shirt. Okay, so here I am at the heat press. I've lint rolled my shirt, pre-pressed it to remove some of the moisture and to remove some of the wrinkles. I've also placed my first layer down onto my t-shirt, and I've placed the design 3 inches from the bottom of my collar. Since this is my first layer and I have 2 more layers to press, I'm going to press this first layer at 350 degrees for 6 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to let that cool down for a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to peel it. Going slow, just in case some of my rhinestones did not stick. I'm going to go slowly. Next, I will place my second layer into the outline, lining it up, making sure that none of the rhinestones are touching any of the other rhinestones that have already been pressed to the shirt. And I'm going to put some Teflon sheet over it. And then I am going to press this layer for 350 degrees for about 10 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to let that cool down just a little bit. Now I'm going to peel this back again, going slowly, because the glue is still kind of hot. And I don't want to go too fast and some of my rhinestones lift up off of the shirt. So I'm going to peel it really slow. So now I'm going to layer in my bottom layer, and I'm going to lay it into the design, making sure that none of the rhinestones overlap with any of the rhinestones that are down. And so I am going to layer this in here. And I just want to make sure that none of the rhinestones are going to be touching any of the rhinestones that are already down. And sometimes you have to stretch the shirt out to get a stone to lay where you need it to lay. Okay. And then I'm going to use my fingernails to kind of move them over again, so they're not overlapping, because if they overlap, they won't stick to the shirt. And so you just want to make sure that they do not overlap. Okay, so I have my final layer layered into the design, and I am going to press this layer at 350 degrees for the full 12 seconds. All right, so I'm going to let that cool off for a second before I peel it. Okay, so that's our final press. And I am going to peel it back to reveal the new Ombre Rhinestone design shirt. It's so pretty. What you guys think? Huh? What you think? It is so pretty. All right, guys, that's all for now. I hope that you were able to follow along with my process. If you like this video and would like to see more, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and consider subscribing to my channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I will respond back. Thank you for watching, and see you in my next video.